Hi everyone! I'm sitting here at Goonawara Neighbourhood House. I was setting up for my workshop for Onwards and Upwards that I have discussed with you guys before, and it turns out Wednesday night, not such a successful night for me this week. And so I thought what I'll do while I've got the time is to sit down and have a chat with you about something that I have been trying to talk about all day, and that is finding moments of gratitude. So the reason I originally wanted to talk about that, and the irony behind this night actually, is yesterday my husband had a car accident on the way home from work. Small accident, he's fine, the other person's fine. You know, it was one of those moments, lapse of judgment, sort of mind wandering kind of thing. And unfortunately his car didn't come out so great. And as a result of that, I ended up driving him to work today, and I sort of chauffeured him around a little bit while we had some errands to run, and we were talking about it, and he started to do this thing which I know I have done, and it's quite common. I think I've heard a lot of people do it, which is the I could-haves and I should-haves. So I could have been paying attention. I should have been paying attention. I should have turned around when, you know, I saw the traffic and, you know, gone the other way home, and all of those things where he's just sort of beating himself up about it because he just felt so horrible. And as a result of that discussion, I was thinking, how do I get him out of this funk? You know, how do I help him to see that, yeah, it's not a fantastic situation, but it's really not something that he needs to sort of hate on himself for. And so we started talking about finding the moments of gratitude. And what we ended up talking about was, instead of the I could-haves and I should-haves, we started talking about the it could have been worse, and I'm so glad, right? So I'm so glad, my one was, I'm so glad you weren't going any faster. He wasn't, not you guys. Because if you could see the car at what happened to it at 40 kilometers an hour, my mind went to how much worse that could have been. He was merging onto a freeway, and had he been going at the 110 kilometers that it is on that freeway, and this had happened, it would have been a totally different phone call that I would have received. And so for me, that was I'm so grateful. His one ended up being I'm so grateful Emily wasn't in the car, who's our daughter, who you might hear me talk about, which is, you know, it's a big one. One, it would have frightened her. Two, she could have possibly gotten hurt. And, you know, that's not something that any parent really wishes on their child, you know. Another one that we came up with was, I'm so glad the baby seat wasn't in the car. And that was fluke. We had only taken it out because it's in my car, because we had one of Emily's friends over on the weekend, and so we needed the extra seat. But I heard somewhere that when a baby seat is involved in a car accident, you sort of have to get rid of the baby seat. You're not allowed to keep it because the sort of integrity of it could have been compromised. And that was like a small little moment of I'm so glad for me, because the sort of annoyance of having to go out and get a new one, when to me, like, I'm like, that's a perfectly good one, would have sucked really. And obviously the outlay for doing it. So, you know, it's just, yeah, we just started to find these little things, like I'm so glad. One of his was also, I'm so glad I got KFC for dinner, because that's not what we would have had for dinner had he gotten home normally. But we waited for the tow truck, it was late, and it's what was on the way home. So, you know, it was a bit of a treat for us. So I wanted to talk about that, and when I was talking about the irony, it's that I'm here holding this workshop, and I am disappointed that no one turned up tonight. You know, it's a risk. It's a Wednesday, it's 6 o'clock, people are getting home from work, finishing school, it's cold, it's wet. It was a risk that I took, and I am disappointed that no one turned up. However, and here's the kicker, I am glad that I had an opportunity to sit down and film this video. Because let me tell you, had I been at home trying to do this video, there would be a 4-year-old somewhere in here making my life chaotic. There would probably be a dog jumping on me, licking me, chewing something, peeing on something, distracting me. There would have been dinner to be made, dinner to be eaten, dinner to be cleaned up after. There would have been a child to bathe. Then you have to, you know, wrestle her into her pajamas. All of these things that I would have sort of have to do that I get out of tonight, and that means that I can sit down and film this. So that's what I am glad for. I am glad that I got this opportunity because I have been trying to do this video all day. And every time I started, something happened and I cut it off halfway through a sentence. And trust me, it's probably good that you don't see those videos when I'm like caught off guard. So that's my I'm glad. So what I want to do is I want to challenge you guys. I don't want you guys to like count down Monday to Friday and like wish your life away. You know, it's Monday morning, everyone's at work or school and they're all like, oh, I can't wait till Saturday. Can't wait till Saturday, Monday to Friday, get that out of the way. We're wishing our lives away 5 days at a time. And so instead of focusing on what you don't want or what you know, sort of brewing on the parts that you don't like and what you could have done or you should have done and all of these things, I want you to look at the I'm glad for moments, you know, finding the moments of gratitude. An example being, you know, the weather is not great. You might not be in a good place with your job or whatever it is, and you might not want to go to work. Yeah? And completely get that. Sometimes we have those days. But instead of focusing on how much you hate it, instead of focusing on what you don't want to do about that day, find what you are grateful for. For me, when I used to, I mean, I commute like less than 10 minutes a day now, but when I used to catch the bus and I would go, it would be half an hour there and half an hour back, I ended up getting half an hour of reading each way. And that was massive for me because I love to read and I often don't find the time to sit down and really get into a book. So it was actually kind of ironic that on my way to work, I got some me time to do something that was really good for me. And so, you know, it might be something as simple as that. You know, maybe you get to watch your Netflix show, or, you know, maybe you, that's what I'm looking for, carpool with someone and you get to have really, really good conversations that you don't get to have when you're at work because there's people around and, you know, you're doing your work so you can't sit down and talk about it. Maybe it's just as simple as your favorite coffee place is down the corner, you know, on the corner from work, and if you were to stay at home, you wouldn't get to go get that coffee, you know, just little things. And my challenge to you is, instead of wishing your Thursday and your Friday away, or instead of sort of brewing on how crappy your Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday were, let's find our moments of gratitude. And what I would really love is if you guys can think of anything, either, you know, previous ones where you're now looking back and you can find your moments of gratitude, or sort of what you've got to look forward to, pop it in the comments. I'd really love to have a chat with you guys about it and sort of talk to you about sort of how it changes your feelings, because I have found personally that when we changed our outlook, when we changed our framing on what had occurred, the mood changed, everything changed. We laughed and we, you know, we weren't sort of stuck in this fog of negativity, which can sometimes be quite suffocating. So that's what you've got to do for me. That's your homework this week. And, you know, for those of you who are coming to our workshop on Saturday, which is at Goonawara Neighbourhood House in Sunbury, at 10 a.m, I believe, I would love for you to come bearing stories. I'd really love to have a quick chat with you guys about it. It's actually something that sort of occurred to me it occurred to me this morning, and I would like to explore it a little bit further with you guys. So that's me. I'm about to pack up, I'm about to go home, and I'm about to go and just, you know what, I get the best part. I get to go and read a story and give her a kiss, tuck her in, and then I've got some Netflixing to do. So have a great night, guys. I look forward to seeing you on Saturday, and don't forget to find your moments of gratitude. Instead of I could have and I should have, I want to hear I'm glad, and I'll talk to you about that later. See you later.